person. Many of you may think of qualities of your best friends, qualities ranging from being kind and respectful to open-minded, funny, or outgoing. Theodore Roosevelt also believed in a few of these qualities, and he wanted to share them with the society, and he wanted to communicate these expectations he had to persuade the audience to act with bravery and respectfulness. In Theodore Roosevelt's Strength and Decency speech, he describes the way the future of the society depends on the way people act, and he encourages and persuades the audience to prove their lives as a strong Christian. Many of you may think of Theodore Roosevelt as the 26th president, a conservationist, or a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. However, he is most importantly known for his numerous speeches over his presidency. He was a Christian man who believed in showing strength and decency, and this is why he had this speech. The speech was given at the Society of the Holy Name of Brooklyn and Long Island at Oyster Bay in New York. It was given on August 16, 1903, and there were about 2,000 in attendance. It is also assumed most of these people in attendance were also Christian. The Society of the Holy Name focused on honoring God. It was a Catholic organization, and so these were also points that Roosevelt brought up in his speech. So now we will hear a little bit about his speech read by another person.
If you are to be effective as good Christians, you must possess strength and courage, or your example will count for little with the young who admire strength and courage. I want to see you, the men of the Holy Name Society, you who embody the qualities which the younger people admire. By your example, give those young people the tendency, the trend, in the right direction. And remember that this example counts in many other ways besides cleanliness of speech. I want to see every man able to hold his own with the strong, and also ashamed to oppress the weak. I want to see each young fellow able to do a man's work in the world, and of a type which will not permit imposition to be practiced upon him. I want to see him too strong of spirit to submit to wrong, and, on the other hand, ashamed to do wrong to others. I want to see each man able to hold his own in the rough work of actual life outside, and also, when he is at home, a good man, unselfish in dealing with wife or mother or children. Remember that the preaching does not count if it is not backed up by practice. There is no good in your preaching to your boys to be brave if you run away. There is no good in your preaching to them to tell the truth if you do not. There is no good in your preaching to them to be unselfish if they see you selfish with your wife, disregardful of others. We have a right to expect that you will come together in meetings like this, that you will march in processions, that you will join in building up such a great and useful association as this, and, even more, we have a right to expect that in your own homes and among your own associates, you will prove by your deeds that yours is not a lip loyalty merely, that you show in actual practice the faith that is in you.
So as you can tell from the clip of this speech, his purpose was to persuade the people to act with bravery, unselfishness, and kindness. He shared this vision with the audience and used rhetorical devices to mold this vision he had into other people's minds. The speech Strength and Decency was important back then when he gave it, and still to this day. He described the attributes of an ideal man and connected Christian values of kindness and morality with the strength and manliness a person should show. He encouraged the audience to lead by example and be a good citizen, which people started to do. Today, most of us still hopefully try to live by some of these values he talked of. However, during the time he gave the speech, people only thought of showing strength. But after he gave the speech, people started to show more kindness and patriotism, and it started to become more prominent in the U.S. Today, our National Guard is focused on being very strong and loyal. Theodore Roosevelt also uses ethos, pathos, and logos in his speech. First, he uses an ethical appeal by sharing an idea based on a figure of credibility, in this case God. He says, "We have good scriptural authority for the statement, 'It is not what comes into a man's mouth, but out.'" He also gives credit to the Holy Name Society where the speech was given by saying, "I want to see you, the men of the Holy Name Society, give young people the tendency and the trend in the right direction." He also, during this quote, was giving credit to the people as fathers because their children would look up to them, which leads into the next appeal, which is pathos, an appeal to the emotions. By describing the way the audience's children look up to them, he says they believe in courage, in manliness. They admire those who have the quality of being brave, the quality of facing life as life should be faced, the quality that must stand at the root of good citizenship in peace or in war. Finally, he uses a logical appeal by sharing the importance of acting morally if that's what they expect from their children. He says, "There is no good in your preaching to your boys to be brave if you run away. There is no good in your preaching to them to tell the truth if you do not. There is no good in your preaching to them to be unselfish if they see you selfish with your wife, disregardful of others." It is evident Theodore Roosevelt values the qualities of a good person and is trying to persuade others to do as well. Next, we will look at some of the rhetorical devices he used in his speech. Just as this quote was used as a logical appeal, it also represents an anaphora because he uses the phrase, "There is no good in your preaching" at the beginning of each sentence. He also uses a chiasmus, which involves reversing the order of the words. He says, "I desire to see in this country the decent men strong and the strong men decent." Finally, he uses an allusion to God by saying, "Must show by his words as well as by his actions his fealty to the Almighty if he was to be what was have a right to expect from men wearing the national uniform." The speech has endured because of the realistic values the audience supported. He says, "The future welfare of our nation depends on the way in we can combine our men in decency and strength." The audience understood this and acted upon his words. Now you understand a bit more of what was Theodore Roosevelt's strength, what was his purpose in sharing the strength and decency speech. He had expectations for the audience, and he effectively persuaded them to act their lives as a strong individual Christian. Thank you.